Re-
Hello, everyone. It's Sibyl Star. I'm going to be giving you the astrology forecast actually for the next 2 weeks because I'm going to be out of town next weekend. So I'm going to go over the astrology from August 7th to 20th. This is what's called MoonDay morning astrology. I call this MoonDay morning because it comes out on Monday morning, which is the day of the moon. All right. So, and of course, I'm going to talk just a little bit about the moon at the end of the reading because I do feel like, the moon moves very quickly, but the moon really shows us our moods and is one of the primary ways we actually interact in our world is through the emotional body, which is what is represented by the moon. All right. So anyway, we start the sun is traveling from 15 to 27 degrees of Leo over the next 2 weeks from August 7th to August 20th. And the sun moves in to Virgo on what is that, August 23rd, I believe. Anyway, or August 21st, I can't remember. August 23rd. So anyway, the sun is in Leo. And of course, we've had a lot of Leo energy. So, Leo is the archetype of the child, of the king or the queen. It's very much about the joy and the celebration of life, our creative self-expression. And with the king or the queen, it's about leadership and a person who knows their value. All right. So then some other really powerful things are happening, though, over the next couple of weeks. First of all, we have Lunasad, which is the actual cross-quarter, astrological cross-quarter day, is often celebrated on August 1st, which is the day of Lammas, which is the day that the church designated that holy day. But in the actual astrology, 15 degrees of the fixed signs is the actual midpoint between and for Lunasa, it's between the spring equinox and not the spring equinox, the summer solstice and the fall equinox. Okay, it's the actual midpoint, and 15 degrees is a very powerful number astrologically. It's like a portal to other dimensions. All right. And so in the Celtic Wheel of the Year, Lunasad is the first harvest. It is when the grain was traditionally harvested, and that's why Lammas is the feast of the bread. And the Catholic or the church holiday named it after the Feast of the Bread, but it's ultimately a season of giving thanks. It's the first harvest. We say thank you, and it's a time of deep gratitude. Okay. Then we have and that occurs on August 7th. I guess I didn't say that. August 7th is the day that occurs. And then very next day is the Lionsgate. And the day actually starts with the sun still at 15 degrees. It doesn't change degrees until about midday, at least here in California. And so the Lionsgate is 8/8 every year. This is celebrated as it is a sacred event, as when the earth and the sun are closest to the star Sirius. And it's also during a several week period when Sirius is what's called a heliacal rising star, and that can occur anywhere from July 26th to August 12th. And the heliacal rising star, what that means is that Sirius, we'll just talk specifically about Sirius. That Sirius has been in alignment with the sun, and the sun, of course, has been kind of channeling that energy through the Sirian energy, through its light. But the light of Sirius itself was not seen due to the light of the sun. And so the heliacal rising star is the day that Sirius is first visible in the eastern sky as it rises before the sun. That's what the heliacal rising of Sirius is. And it has, in ancient times, it was a harbinger of the flooding of the Nile, and which also started the Egyptian New Year. So it's a very powerful day. and the heliacal rising star. My understanding is that this year, the heliacal rising of Sirius in Cairo occurs on August 8 on the Lionsgate itself. And so, but what is the actual Lionsgate? The Lionsgate portal marks a time of increased cosmic energy flowing between the physical and the spiritual realms. The Lionsgate 8-8 portal is the opening of a galactic gate that delivers high frequency energy into our beings, allowing us to rebirth our spirit energy and the spirit energy of Mother Earth. This high frequency energy can be used to open our energy centers, inspire new ideas, raise our consciousness, and enhance our ability to receive psychic downloads. It's really a very powerful, energetic day. And I know that I will be in prayer a lot that day, doing several meditations and really being able, recognizing the sacredness, actually, of both days, of Lunasad and of the Lionsgate. Okay. All right. We still have Venus retrograde. She continues to be a player. And so, the deeper meaning of Venus retrograde is always the journey inward for renewal and regeneration, regardless of how that energy manifests. And I found this wonderful, I adapted it just a bit, but this wonderful quote by a woman named Lucy Cavendish. And so I just wanted to share it with you because I thought it was very appropriate for the real deeper meaning of Venus retrograde. And it says, too many journey outwards, expecting to find answers externally in gurus and teachers, in places and other people, in medicines and therapies. And they all have a part to play. It's not that they don't, they're very important. But if we do not seek the chalice within, we cannot drink from the cup of our soul, the crystalline waters of the self. The journey within can be challenging and full of risk. But when you have made it to the center of yourself, you will know what treasure lies within. As you do, you can rise again and re-enter the world and know fully who you are and why you are here. So this Venus retrograde is that journey inward. Now, it does bring us experiences in the outer world, but it's very much about that inner journey. It's the descent of the goddess to discover who you are and your own self-worth. Venus is always about self-worth and self-love, and then to bring it to others, how we love others. Okay. Now, on August 9th, like I said, Venus is retrograde. She went retrograde on July 22nd. She goes direct on September 3rd, and she's out of the retrograde on October 7th. So it's really a long period. And she actually started her retrograde motion, I believe, in mid-June. Okay. Anyway. But we have Venus on her journey is interacting. She's dancing with several other energies. And so on August, actually this whole week, and actually next week, this is in effect, I would say. But really it's exact on August 9th. And that is Venus is conjunct Lilith and square Uranus. Okay, a conjunct Black Moon Lilith. And so Lilith speaks to our deepest repressed desires, the darkest parts of ourselves that we may not want to wish to acknowledge. And, Leo, is so much about letting our light shine, but there's a shadow of Leo, and that is that there's the potential to play to the crowd, to give people what they want instead of what is really authentic and true. And so and Lilith brings up that shadow side. And so, and in Leo, it is our desire to be loved and what we may do to receive that love, which is usually some form of self-betrayal. Some old patterns may show up at the way we might be betraying ourselves. Okay. And with its square Uranus, though, it's about breakthrough. It's about breaking through those old patterns, and frees us from those old emotional patterns and brings it into awareness how we must love ourselves fully, to light that fire within and to use that magnetic force of love to create love in our lives. That no one else can light that fire for us. We have to light that fire within ourselves. And this is also an aspect of needing freedom and space to be yourself and to express who you are. Uranus often brings in the awareness of how much we have sacrificed at the altar of approval of others. Uranus always tells us it's time to be true to ourselves. And Uranus square Venus can often bring in change and disruption in relationships. We may find that we're no longer in the same resonant field with some of our friends or acquaintances, or the thing is, we just may not want to hang out with people that we hung out with in the past, and that's okay. Honor that, because Uranus brings change. And like I said, when it's activating Venus, it can change our relationships. Okay, but it can also bring in new people. Venus retrograde does bring in people from our past with whom we have unfinished business, and can bring new people into our lives. It's not a particularly good time to start a romantic relationship, but certainly new people can show up. It's kind of like a shuffling. Like a friend of mine said, she likes to watch Venus retrograde to see who shows up and who disappears, because it's kind of a reshuffling of our fields sometimes, especially if this Venus retrograde impacts you. Okay, if you have planets from 29 to 12 degrees of the fixed signs, especially Leo and Aquarius. Okay. All right. Now, Venus is conjunct the Sun on the 13th at 20 degrees of Leo. And so when Venus conjuncts the Sun, we start to get some clarity on whatever Venusian issues we've been working. It's like the light of the Sun illuminates the issue, and part of the awakening process that this Venus retrograde has triggered. Okay. Now we also have Mars is traveling in Virgo at 23 degrees. It's exact on August 15th, and it's trine Uranus and Taurus. Okay, yeah. So it's building up to that. The exact is on August 25th, but Mars and Uranus are trine. 23 degrees of Virgo, Mars at 23 degrees of Virgo, Uranus at 23 degrees of Taurus. They're both earth signs. But it does feel like it's an opportunity to be more free and break routines. It can bring new experiences and friendships, stimulating and renewing different aspects of your life. And I think being an earth sign, it can actually show us some practical steps to implementing change and or a new direction, something new that is wanting to show up. And it shows us the practical movement of that. All right. Now, so we also have, not this week, but next week, we have the Leo new moon on August 16th at 23 degrees of Leo at 2:39 a.m. Pacific time. And so what we have is that we have the Sun and the Moon at 23 degrees. We have Lilith, Black Moon Lilith at 24 degrees. And we have, I could actually even show that to you. Let me get that pulled up on the screen here. All right, so now I have it here. Let's look at it. All right, see if I can show it to you. Okay, so what we've got going on, this is the new moon. All right, so we've got the Sun and the Moon at 23 degrees, 17 minutes of Leo. Tightly conjunct Black Moon Lilith here at 24 degrees of Leo. A little more widely, about a little over 4 degrees conjunct Venus. They're all here in a little bundle, and they're all in a square to Uranus at 23 degrees of Taurus. Okay, so yeah, so I just wanted to show that to you. All right. So the question is, what does that mean? So, yeah, so anyway, so like I said, so Leo is the light of the sun, or Leo is ruled by the sun, and it is so in Leo, of course, here in the Northern Hemisphere is when the sun is really the brightest and is often the hottest. And I feel like with all of this abundance of Leo energy coming in, it's showing us there is so much light coming in to raise our spiritual light quotient. And the goal is to be able to, as that light is coming in, to hold that light, to anchor that light here on Mother Earth. And one of the ways we are doing that is with our bodies. And I want to share with you the Sabian symbol because it's very powerful, and I think it's giving us a lot of good direction and guidance. And of course, the Sabian symbols, for those of you who don't know what they are, there was a psychic named Elsie Wheeler who has had a vision for every degree of the zodiac. And the vision often gives a lot of information about what is happening at the moment. At least that's the way I use it. Okay. So this is the symbol for this new moon. Or not the symbol, the vision she had. A totally concentrated upon spiritual attainment. A man is sitting in a state of neglect of his body. I mean, I think that's just really clear. There is a tremendous amount of light coming in, especially as we are moving through different areas of our galaxy where the vibration is higher, the light is higher, it's coming in. But we need to be able to anchor it in our bodies. And as a friend of mine noted, many of us are experiencing physical symptoms, which some are calling ascension symptoms. And we are also at the same time in a purification process. And so it's so important to care for our bodies and pay attention to when they are speaking to us. You know, our bodies have wisdom. Uranus and Taurus, to me, one of the meanings is that it signifies the wisdom of our bodies. And so they are telling you, you know, you might need more rest, or you might need certain nutrients, or is there a deeper message? Because yes, these ascension symptoms are part of the you know, they're part of the process. So how do you care for your body as you're going through this process? Because we're also clearing out old energy channels. Okay. So it's, you know, and I'm also going to say, especially here in the heat that we're experiencing, to drink lots of water and just really take good care of your bodies as we're holding this light. It's time and also time to be out in Mother Nature to ground these energies. For as we raise our own frequency, we are raising her frequency as well, because we're all ascending together. Okay. And as we raise our vibration or our spiritual light quotient, we allow more of our higher selves to emerge, which is really the only way we're going to heal our world, is as we allow more of our heart, which is our higher self. And as we tune into the frequency of unconditional love. Okay. And Uranus is the planet of awakening. And so I feel like it's also a time of self-discovery and discovering our own inner genius. And it asks us to let our light shine and to see our light shining all over Mother Earth. You know, this solar consciousness is what reminds us of our own divinity, of the spark of creator that lives within each one of us, and that we are actually light beings embodied in physical form. And the more light we can hold, the stronger our light bodies come. And what I have come to understand as well is that one light worker, one person who is really in this field of light and their light body and their higher self emerging, they can impact the field of 1,000 others and help raise the field. It's like a lit match can ignite the fire in others, can ignite the light in others. Okay. And as we shine our light, we become way showers for others. We illuminate the path so that others can find the way. This is all happening. And then at the same time, you know, we also have Pluto square the nose. We also have a purification process going on. It's like as the light comes in, if it hits blockages, that's kind of, I feel like, where some of the symptoms are coming from, because it's kind of like pushing through. And so, you know, was also a time of, you know, the nodes of the moon are points of destiny. And whenever there's a planet squaring the nodes of the moon, it indicates we're at a crossroads. And Pluto is squaring the nodes and will be through November. Although it was exact on July 25th, it's still going to be in range for the next several months. And so I feel like the teaching here, it's about releasing the lower vibrational emotions from our lower chakras. That's where we carry them. And they attach us through the 3D matrix of fear and control. And as we're able to release these lower frequency emotions, we're more able to make choices from a place of love and trust instead of fear. And of course, the way to release these emotions is to feel them, you know, because repressed emotions, as we know, can create these energy blockages. So as the light is coming in, allow yourself to feel these emotions that want to leave your field without a story. It's like when we have a story attached to the feelings, then we kind of get in a loop. Okay, but to just allow us to feel them, to let them go, and to know also some of what we are releasing is the collective story and the collective suffering. And so let it move right through you. It's coming up to be released. And another wonderful tool is the violet flame. The violet flame is a healing violet light from Arcturus that allows us to release negative emotions held throughout our physical, emotional, mental, and energetic bodies. And as we do, we allow more of our higher selves, or what we're calling now homo luminous or homo omega. This is the new human, the new human who is in a stronger light body. The body is not so dense. It's a human whose light body is activated and is emerging on Earth. And I have a wonderful violet flame meditation that I find incredibly helpful that I will share in the description box below. It's a really powerful tool, I believe. All right, so then what is the moon doing this week? All right, so first off, we have Monday through mid-Wednesday. The moon is in Taurus. When the moon is in Taurus, we are motivated by the desire for inner calm, security, and comfort. The moon is at her most sensual in Taurus, and our basic impulses are to relax and to stop and smell the roses. Take some time out to enjoy nature. And it's a very sensual kind of an energy. Do something that feels good to your body, to, you know, your senses, you know, something that tastes good, feels good, smells good, you know, something you enjoy, and slow down a little bit. Okay. But like I said, it's also very much about comfort. Now, the moon conjuncts two planets, Jupiter and Uranus. And so in Jupiter conjunct the moon in Taurus can be very prosperous and fortunate. And it lines up with Lunasad. So I think it's about these prayers of gratitude. And the prayers of gratitude can take you into some deep inner peace. Okay. And then, of course, it's conjunct Uranus, which is quite different energy because it pushes us out of our comfort zone. And, you know, Taurus likes to be comfortable, but it can push us out with some surprising twists and turns. All right, mid-Wednesday through Friday, the moon is in Gemini. The energy of Gemini is to communicate, to think, and to learn. We're motivated by a desire for variety and curiosity. It is lighthearted, breezy, and curious, but can be restless and fickle. But it, you know, like I said, it comes on Friday, the weekend, and so it's a super fun energy to gather together, to share ideas, to connect, and just to have generally great visits. Saturday and Sunday, the moon is in Cancer. And Cancer is a much more sensitive energy, and it brings with it a feeling of belonging and safety, or at least that's what the moon in Cancer seeks, is what it desires. It's where we belong. The moon in Cancer really asks us, who are my people? Where do I belong? And it has great healing potential. It's an ideal time to get in touch with our feelings, and to really feel them, to let them move through us. And of course, it's opposite Pluto, and so which is very sensitive. And or let's put it this way: the moon is very sensitive. Pluto wants emotional honesty, you know. And so, and to know that our hearts are open and vulnerable, but the main thing is to allow your heart to be open and vulnerable. And it's a great opportunity to release some of any kind of repressed emotions, which are your own or in the collective. Like I said, you might be feeling it a lot. Anyway, but like I said, the key, of course, is to let the stories go and to just release the emotion. All right. So anyway, I will not be having a MoonDay morning recording next week. What would that be? Sunday the 13th. So I've got the 2 weeks here. And I will put the Violet Flame meditation in the description box, as well as if you're interested in a reading, all my contact information is in the box below. All right, wishing you all a wonderful 2 weeks, and namaste. Blessings to all.